Every time I land in Redmond, I see the plaque dedicated to J.R. Roberts, and I wonder, who was J.R. Roberts? And then I get in my car and completely forget about it. But today, I didn't forget. And here's what I found out. Roy Roberts did for Redmond in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s what men like Drake, McKay, and Putnam did for the railroad in the early 1900s.
So he had come out to Portland in 1907 from Iowa and was living in a boarding house and became friends with a fellow roommate by the name of Maurice Mike Lynch. And there were other boarders in the house as well, of course, and one of them was named Roy Dobson.
Roberts and Lynch bought a plot of land in Portland with the future hopes of starting a business.
Little did they know that land would merely serve as seed money for a much more substantial endeavor.
Well, Dobson had gotten engaged in the railroad coming to Central Oregon and was seeing the business opportunities there. And in 1910, he's telling him, wait, you guys got to come with me to Redmond. This is going to be the place to go.
With no railroad up to this point, the only way to acquire most goods was with horse freight and a lot of patience. So the men put their heads together and came up with a plan.
In 1910, they take the risk. They sell their Portland lot and they borrow against life insurance policies that they had. And they send Lynch down to Redmond, and Mike gets started on a store while Roy stays in Portland, and he's sending part of his salary down to Lynch in Redmond while they're trying to make a go of it.
In 1917, Lynch and Roberts started Lynch and Roberts. It was a hub downtown for people to get their goods, and Central Oregon life finally began to take shape.
They really quickly sensed the moment of creating their own little kind of mail-in catalog system so that folks could order things and then they would go and get the stock and bring it in.
Eventually, Roy Roberts, who seemed to have a knack for anticipating the next big thing, put his eyes to the skies and saw the future.
One of the things that is happening early on in the 1920s is, airplanes. And Roberts gets really excited about that possibility. So one of his goals serving in city government for Redmond was pushing the airport.
Roberts had seen what getting the railroad had done for Bend, and he had every intention of making sure that Redmond was the one that got the airport.
Which he did, and a whole lot more.
He ends up not only being influential citywide, but statewide, serving on the aeronautics board for the state of Oregon for decades. So it really became something that he knew would help bolster the city economically to make the airport viable.
By 1941, it was decided to name Redmond Airport Roberts Field, right at the time that Uncle Sam needed to train pilots very quickly.
After the war ended, the airport became a natural hub for commercial aviation. So people from miles around, and Roberts himself, landed at Roberts Field.
And in 1946 is when United Airlines starts the first commercial travel to Redmond, and Roberts is one of the passengers on that airplane. And one of the things that I love about that first flight is that all the passengers all got crates of Deschutes netted gem potatoes, which of course, being known for the potato show and potato harvests, like, welcome to Redmond, here's your potatoes.
Roberts lived out the rest of his days in Redmond, but somewhat surprisingly, the godfather of Central Oregon aviation never got his wings.
Ironically, he never got around to learning to fly himself, although he always wanted to. By the time he had the free time in retirement, he was hard of hearing and it just never happened.
Now, while he never did get his wings, aviation was obviously in his blood, because little did I know, his great-great-granddaughter works right here at the airport that Grandpa built.
My name's Annika Nelson. I'm the great-great-granddaughter of J.R. Roberts. I really embrace that history. Over Christmas, I really enjoyed just an hour-long conversation with my grandma, really trying to make sure that I understand all of it and get to embrace it so I can pass it on, because I think it is important. And I don't think anyone else in our family in the near future is probably going to live up to his name, but I think we can continue to share his story and his legacy and everything that legacy and his work here at the airport has done to ensure that our community has this airport.
For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm Squatch Elnes.